Hey guys, tired of feeling stuck in your dating life and striking out in the dating game? You're not alone. Maybe you just need some good coaching. Welcome to Just Ask Her, the no BS podcast for real dating advice straight from a woman's point of view. Dating expert Gracie Pleschourt and her co-host, certified life coach Tracy Pleschourt, are here to give you the play-by-play on how to attract more women you're interested in. So, let's take back control of your dating life. This is Just Ask Her.
Welcome back to Just Ask Her, the podcast that helps you date with confidence, connect with real women, and finally feel in control of your dating life. I'm your host, Gracie, here with my mom, certified life coach, and co-host, Tracy. And we're excited to be back for another episode.
Yes, we are. And I have to say, you're getting pretty good at that intro.
It's only taken me like 6 episodes to not have to look down at it.
You do a nice job of switching it up a little bit. I'm your co-host, certified life coach, and mom.
Mm-hmm. You wear a lot of titles.
Yeah. All right. Should we dive in?
Let's do it.
Okay. Submission 1 is from Chris, and he says, I'm 32, live in the UK, and I'm a firefighter. I always seem to attract women who just come out of relationships and are in a low, dark place. I'm careful because I don't want to be the guy who takes advantage, but lately it feels like I'm being used to help them grow up, only for them to move on to someone else. At the start of this year, a woman approached me at the gym and later slid into my DMs. She'd ended an engagement and hadn't been treated well. Our connection intensified. We were open about our sexual desires, but I wasn't in a great place as I was fighting to save my job. This went on for about 4 months. Once I knew my job was secure, we planned a date at her favorite beach to watch the sunrise. I was going to bring her favorite flowers and breakfast. We set a date, but shortly after, she messaged me to say she'd been struggling with childhood trauma and needed to focus on herself and commit to therapy. I wanted to be respectful, so I gave her space. Later, I checked in to see how she was doing. We had a good conversation and agreed to go on a dog walk as friends. The week of the dog walk, she messaged again to say she'd be unavailable. She'd recently gone on a date with someone else, and given our previous intentions, it didn't feel right to meet up with me. From what I understand, it was someone she met last year when her ex cheated on her. My gut says he was interested back then, stayed in touch, and waited. From a dating and female perspective, how do you view this? Thanks, ladies.
I am a little bit confused about the question. I guess I'm trying to get a better grasp of how he's viewing this, if he sees this as a problem. It sounds like he's drawing this to a pattern of other situations like it.
Right, which I think is pretty admirable that he's actually taken the time to recognize his part in the story, that there is that pattern of helping women, quote unquote, grow up and then they leave. When you take ownership or you take responsibility for your part in the story, that's when you are going to get the biggest benefits from coaching. Where I would go from here is to really look at the facts. She ended an engagement. Things between you and her got intense quickly. She paused to focus on therapy and then told you.
I think he paused too. I don't think either of them are necessarily wrong in this situation, but it sounds like neither of you were very sure of this to begin with. There were things going on in your life when all of this got started, and then there were things going on in her life when you guys tried to pick this back up. And so it just didn't seem like there was a good time for this relationship at either point because neither of you were ready.
Yeah.
And now it sounds like he has come back around and he's the one that's ready and she has moved on.
Yeah, there's a strong possibility that that's the case. My point with separating the facts from the story is to really recognize how dramatic his fear-based brain can be and how destructive that can be. That thought of I'm being used, or this guy was waiting in the wings, or women in dark places find me. Those are all thoughts. And it's useful to notice them, but it's not useful to act from them or obey them. This emotional adulthood that we always talk about means that her choices don't mean anything about your worth or your desirability. They only reveal her capacity or her desires or her timeline. Your job isn't to be chosen. Your job is to stay in the chooser role. And it's hard to do that when you're living from narratives that are dramatic or self-sabotaging.
Yeah.
So you have to really look at those narratives and start to reframe them. The first one that I would go after is moving from like this rescuer energy and into more of like relationship energy. And I think it's interesting because you're a firefighter and firefighters are literal protectors. And I think that identity can leak into other areas of your life, specifically into your dating life. It might be like, I'll work to stabilize you and you'll in turn love me for it. That's that dramatic triangle that will create confusion and ultimately a lot of resentment. It's very similar to the people pleaser saboteur. You do things to try to get the outcome that you're looking for. And when you don't get it, then you become really resentful.
Yeah. It's probably not a coincidence that you keep, quote unquote, attracting this type of woman. It's probably because you do have that presence about you where you are such a fixer and you want to help people and you want to take care of people. And I'm sure your actions align with that. And it probably is a very safe place to land for a lot of women that need fixing, right? And the doors probably open a lot faster for relationships like that. And it's more important that you are aware of it, but you're not using it against yourself. Those are great qualities to have, but that doesn't mean that you should be using those qualities when it comes to every single relationship or potential relationship you come across.
Right. And so future relationships, I would ask yourself, like, am I co-creating a relationship or am I trying to rescue? Really get that straight in your own mind and try to do it early on so that you have a chance to course correct if you see yourself going down that path. The other reframe is, and I think you also caught this, but that fast, like closeness is not the same as being ready. All of the open sexual talk or vulnerable DMs, they definitely can manufacture a bond quickly. Anytime you're going to disclose personal information or you get really vulnerable with somebody, it can be misconstrued as chemistry, but it's almost like it's almost like a fake connection. It accelerates that feeling of closeness, but it's almost not real.
Yeah, I mean, chemistry and connection are not the same thing. And I think that so often they get misunderstood for being the same thing. Chemistry is that kind of fiery, like fun, exciting feeling that you get from being around a certain person. But connection has more to do with what is aligned, whether that is your relationship goals, which in this case doesn't sound like was necessarily aligned, or if it's the interests that the two of you share. There's a lot of different pieces to connection that need to fall into place in order for a relationship to work. And yeah, chemistry is great and you definitely need it to form a relationship, but chemistry is very fleeting if you don't have connection. And that's maybe what happened here. The chemistry was very hot right out of the gate and you guys really enjoyed being around each other, but there were some pieces with the connection that weren't there and ultimately led this not to work out the way that you had hoped it would.
Yeah. So Chris, in addition to measuring each of your future relationships based on whether you're rescuing or like co-creating a relationship, I think there's a few other things that you can do that will really keep you feeling like you're actually in control. I would first write your dating standards down. Like in the beginning of our Self-Made Man dating journal, it starts with you.
And asks what you want.
Yeah. What is it that you want? What is it that you're looking for?
It's like the number one question that people skip over before starting to date. It's like the one that you...
Right. What are your standards? What are your non-negotiables? Also, look at what it is that you bring to the table so that you can build your confidence and stay in that chooser role. Second, I would add like a readiness filter to that first 2 to 3 weeks of any relationship. What does ready to date mean to you right now? Or how will you know when you're overwhelmed? What pace feels good for consistency in texting or seeing each other? if your answers start to get foggy or the pace feels hot and then cold or disengaged, there's nothing wrong with that. Now at least you know. And those are your standards that you're measuring or filtering from. Because you've had this pattern and you're more aware of what this looks like and you're actually taking more of a proactive approach to redirect, you also might want to have a clean exit script ready to go so that you feel comfortable when you recognize that this is not the relationship you want to be investing in. Maybe it's thanks for being straight with me. I'm looking for mutual availability and consistency. So I'm going to step back here and I wish you well.
I call those anti-ghosting messages.
Oh, We haven't really talked about that.
They're important because everybody's been on the other side to put your own mind at ease so that you're not sitting here like dwelling on, oh gosh, like I don't want to hurt this person or I don't know how to end this with this person. It's for your benefit, but also theirs. If you know that this is not aligned, that this is not heading in the direction that you are hoping it would, then stop delaying the inevitable. Let's have the hard conversation so that you have the chance at connecting with somebody who is aligned and who is ready for a relationship, because that's what you deserve. And if this person isn't there yet, then they're not there yet. And so having messages like those are definitely good to keep in your back pocket. But I think it's more so just, you were talking about having the standards for yourself of recognizing when something is not working out and upholding those standards for yourself.
And Chris, I don't know if you're a journaler or not, but a few questions that you could journal on this week would look like, when did I first learn that my value is most obvious when I'm helpful? That can really shed some light on where this is coming from.
Where the pattern started.
Yeah, it probably goes further back than you even realized, but it's going to help you normalize these behaviors. Where am I over-functioning? Where am I giving time, attention, and reassurance before she's earned that kind of access? And if I believed I was the chooser, what would I do differently in the very beginning of a relationship?
Yeah.
Those are all good questions for you to answer, to better understand yourself, to normalize, neutralize circumstances like this. We're all in the state of becoming. We're all growing to the next best version of ourselves. All of this was purposeful and incredibly helpful if you choose to look at it that way. You're not a rehab. You are a very intricate part of a relationship. And the right woman won't need you to rescue her to see your value. And you won't need to be the hero to feel valuable. And so I want you to choose from that place.
Yeah. Yeah. And if you or anybody listening to this episode likes to journal or wants to get into journaling or wants to have a place to keep all of your thoughts and wants a journal that prompts you every single day, that's why we created the Self-Made Man Dating Journal. They are officially out on Amazon now. So if you want one of those, we will link it in the show notes.
Okay. Thank you, Chris, for your submission. Keep us in the loop.
Yeah. It's finally here. The Self-Made Man Dating Journal is officially live and ready for you to grab on Amazon. This was designed specifically for single men who are serious about improving their dating life. It helps you track your dates, reflect on your experiences, and actually learn from them, so you can stop repeating old patterns and start seeing real progress.
What I love most about this journal is how intentional it is. It's not just about writing down what happened. It's about helping you get clear in what you want, confident in how you're showing up, and connected to what's working and what's not. You'll find daily prompts, weekly reflection pages, and the date log. You'll record everything from how you felt before the date, what went well, what felt off, and what you do differently next time. That kind of self-awareness is what sets successful daters apart. This journal will help you slow down, spot patterns, and become more intentional with every single interaction.
We only printed a limited batch for this first run, so if this is something you've been needing, go grab it now before they're gone. We'll drop the link in the show notes and let us know what you think. We love hearing your guys' feedback.
We can't wait for you to start using the Self-Made Man Dating Journal.
All right, submission 2 was written in by Anonymous, and it says, "Hi guys, I'm a 27-year-old in medical school. I've only been in one relationship. It lasted 9 years and ended a little over a year ago. A few months ago, I finally felt ready to put myself back out there again. One of my classmates, let's call her Emma, is really cute, and she'd smile at me every time we crossed paths. We texted here and there for a couple of months, and I eventually worked up the nerve to ask her to dinner. She already had plans with her hometown friends that night, but she suggested an earlier time and said, 'You're welcome to join us after.' I took that as a good sign. When the night came, I was extremely nervous. I hadn't been on a first date since I was 17, and she was gorgeous. On the drive and over dinner, I relaxed. We had a couple of drinks, which helped, and I got to know her better. Her family, her hobbies, career goals, etc. Overall, the date felt good. We did notice a few differences. She's into golf and college football and basketball, while I'm more into baseball and things like painting. Our music tastes are also pretty different. She's very outgoing with a big friend group. I'm more introverted with a smaller circle. I'm fine with that. I like some differences and the idea of being nudged out of my comfort zone. We also have a lot in common: med school and the same specialty interest, being close with our families, growing up in the same area, loving travel. We talked a lot about Hawaii, and similar goals around career, kids, and staying near family. After dinner, she invited me to meet her friends again, which I took as another good sign, though maybe she felt obligated since she mentioned it beforehand. We went to a bar and grill, and she introduced me to everyone. I'm naturally shy in new groups, so I was a little quiet, but still had fun. At one point, Emma and a friend asked my zodiac sign. I teased, "Oh no, don't tell me you believe in that." And then she said, "I'm a Sagittarius." Her friend made a face and said, "Nothing, as long as you're not a cheater." I was caught off guard. Emma seemed uncomfortable for a few minutes, and later I realized her ex was probably a Sagittarius who cheated. The rest of the night was fine. I drove her home, and she said that she had a good time and hoped her friends hadn't made me feel uncomfortable or left out. I told her I had a great time and I appreciated how welcoming everyone was. We said goodnight. The next day, I texted I had a good time and suggested that we hang out again, maybe at a local indoor golf simulator since she loves golf. A few hours later, she replied, "I had a lot of fun last night too. I actually just got out of a relationship and thought I was ready to date again, but I think it was a little too soon for me. I don't think it's the right time for me, but I really did enjoy hanging out, maybe another time." I responded, "No worries, I totally get that. Thanks for being upfront. If things change, feel free to reach out, no pressure." That was a few months ago. Since then, we've only had quick small talk at school. Here's where I'm stuck. Part of me thinks she was letting me down easy. Another part believes that she was being honest about not being ready. Either way, I know I should probably move on, but I really like her and keep replaying the night, wondering what I could have done differently, and whether she might reach out someday. I'd love your thoughts. Was this just bad timing, or was she simply not interested? If it's timing, should I hold out hope or fully move on? And if so, how? Thanks for reading this, and thank you, Gracie, for all the helpful Instagram content. It's made a big difference. I wish there was a name.
Yeah, shoot. I'm really glad that you wrote in, and I appreciate the details that you offered. I want to acknowledge how much courage it took to step back into dating after a 9-year relationship.
Oh yeah, for sure.
The fact that you asked Emma out directly, the fact that you met her friends, and then you responded to her message with a lot of grace. That worth celebrating.
Mm-hmm.
And here's the kind of cleanest read on this. Emma gave you a boundary. It's a little too soon for me, right? That's a fact. That's what she said. And you honored it. Whether that was a soft no or that was just a timing thing, your next move is going to be the same. You do not put your life on hold for a maybe. You treat it as a no for now, and you keep moving forward. So when you operate in that way, that's how you protect your self-respect and you keep momentum, which is the two major pillars of confidence. And we define confidence or self-confidence as the ability to trust yourself and to handle any emotion that comes with putting yourself out there. You earn it by keeping your word to yourself, not by getting the specific outcome that you're hoping for from someone else. You can't hinge your worth, your self-respect on an outcome that somebody else has control of. So you're going to hinge your confidence on the ability to trust yourself, to stay true to yourself. So I really feel like the coaching is similar to the last one. Let's separate the facts from the story. She texted you, "It's too soon for me." That's the fact. Now, you can go one of two ways with this. You can either choose to think that you did something wrong, or you can choose to think, you know what, she's just being honest, and I'm proud of the fact that I just asked her. One set of thoughts is going to create shame, and it's going to create this like rumination, and the other is going to create relief and clarity. And remember that the feelings you have right now are coming from the thoughts about her text. It's not coming from the text itself. It's coming from the thoughts that you're having. So owning that puts you back in control of how you feel and what it is that you're going to do next.
Yeah, I really like that you went so in depth on that, because I was thinking, as soon as I read that, you're questioning like, well, what should I have done differently? Is there something I could have done differently? And it's such a common spin out after a situation like this. You're human. Of course, your brain's going to run to all of the different possibilities and what could I have done differently and blah, 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 blah. But it's so not helpful. It's not changing the outcome here. You sitting and dwelling on what could have been or what you could have done differently. It's like not helpful. It doesn't help you move forward. It doesn't help you in the situation with Emma, like at all. And so I think that it's really important that you use this as a learning lesson to move forward, not to stay stuck in. And I think that a couple red flags that I noticed right out of the gate when I was reading this was the first one, and this is always super confusing because she's saying she wants you around, but if she's doing it in a group setting, it's more likely that she doesn't want to lead you the wrong way. Like she doesn't want you to get the wrong impression if it's just the two of you, than it is that like she wants you to meet all of her friends. She wants the guy she's attracted to, this romantic interest of hers, to meet all of her friends on night one. Usually, if she's pushing for you guys getting together in a group setting rather than on your own, then it's not such a good sign that she's interested romantically. And so I was a little bit weary when I heard that. And again, I think it can be really confusing, especially because you guys got together, just the two of you on the front end. So I wouldn't have ruled it out right away just because of that. But I do think that it was a sign that she maybe wasn't as interested from the beginning, not because of anything you did or didn't do, that just you guys have built a rapport at school. And sometimes that takes a little bit more to knock down those walls that you've started to build like in a different setting. It can sometimes be harder to go from friend to romantic interest than romantic interest to friend if it doesn't work out, right? That's something for everybody listening to take note of. If she's trying to push the interaction more towards a group hangout and it's date one, it's probably a sign that you want to pay attention to.
Yeah. And it could be a timing thing. There's two useful data points on this. Med school bandwidth is definitely real. I coach somebody who is in med school right now, and the meta-analysis is that 27% of medical students experience depression symptoms, and 37%, up to nearly half in some samples, report burnout, both of which reduce emotional availability and dating capacity. So she's coming out of a relationship and she's in med school. So it's reasonable to think that the timing could actually be a valid reason.
But it's not your job to try and fix the timing or try to find the perfect time to revisit this. I think that you have done everything that you could in this situation to make your interest known and to see if this could go anywhere. And I think that, like my mom was talking about at the beginning, you did a beautiful job. The fact that you didn't sit and dwell on this for months and months before asking this girl out, that alone is something to be super proud of. And the fact that you are willing to put yourself back out there after a 9-year relationship, again, something to be proud of. I coach a lot of guys that come out of long-term relationships or marriages, and one of their bigger concerns is, I've been out of the game for so long that I don't even know how to flirt or I don't know how to talk to women. And it's no, you've just been in a different game. It's not that crazy of a jump from being in a committed relationship for so long. Like, you know how to treat women. You know how to make women laugh and smile and want to be around you. You just did it for 9 years. You have so much to show for that. Coming into the dating scene after a long-term relationship can feel scary and it can feel like a lot of unknowns, but remind yourself of the fact that you stayed committed in a relationship, which is not an easy thing to do, for 9 whole years. And you learned so much about yourself and how to be in a relationship and how to treat women that you can now apply to the dating scene. And I would say that those guys are actually the ones that have such a leg up in the dating scene because they've already spent large portions of time with women.
Right. And so you asked, how do I move on? And the first thing you've already checked the box on, and that's closing the loop. Your response to her text was, totally get it. If your situation changes, reach out. And you're going to keep dating. That last sentence protects your time and it signals the self-trust. So you've already done what you needed to do. You close the loop. Secondly, I would do a little bit of a debrief or kind of process your emotions. Create like 2 columns on a sheet of paper. The first column is what I did well. You took the initiative. You kept it fun. You suggested a date that was anchored in her interests, right? A golf simulator. The second column is what I'd repeat or adjust. Okay. So it's what worked, what didn't work, what am I going to do differently? Maybe it would be meeting the friends at a later point in time so you get more one-on-one time. But give yourself some time to do that kind of evaluation because that's what's going to build confidence and you're going to be able to use that for growth versus attacking yourself.
Yeah, I mean, for the what didn't work column, don't sit and dwell on what you could have done differently in terms of this working out in a different way, because we just don't have any control over where she's at and where her interest lies. The what didn't work section should be more focused on you and
what you can control.
Yeah, what you can control. Maybe what didn't work or what you're seeing didn't work now is like the time spent dwelling on this, right? That is within your control. And if you aren't liking the feelings that are coming from that, then what you do differently or what you would do differently, maybe that has something more to do with the way you're choosing to think and feel about the situation.
Let's say that she does resurface later. Anonymous, I really want you to be in a place where you aren't sitting waiting for her. I want you to be in a place where you are still out dating and experiencing everything that this dating journey has to offer. You need to stay in the chooser role. And so if she does resurface, I'd love to hear you say, I'm open to catching up if you're genuinely available for dating now. But if not, I wish you well. That invites that clear yes or no instead of drifting back into this waiting for her type experience. And really adopt that mindset that I'm not here to be chosen. I'm here to choose. And I'm also here to feel whatever feelings come up with the choosing. Even if you're holding that position of being the chooser, you still might feel rejection. And rejection is here to teach us. We're here to learn from it. It's not an emotion that you need to beat yourself up over or one
try
that
to hide from,
or one that you
or avoid.
Try to avoid, right? So
it's just inevitable. It's an inevitable piece of life in general. It's not just dating. There are so many other areas of life where rejection is a part of something you'll experience.
The natural process.
Yeah. And it's the only spot that you can learn from as well. If everything went exactly right, you would never learn like important pieces about yourself and what it is that you want and what it is that you deserve and like the type of relationship that you want to be in. And so I think rejection always sounds so scary from like an outsider's point of view, but the challenge is when you're facing rejection, sit with it. Like actually sit and recognize, okay, this isn't a great feeling, but it's not one that's going to kill me. It's not one that's going to change the trajectory of my life. Like our brain does a really good job of dramatizing situations like this. And it's really important that you put it back in check Nobody wants to be rejected. It's not a fun feeling, but it's also a really important one. It's one that is going to come. If you're in the place of, I can face even the hard feelings, even the ones that make me uncomfortable, even the ones that I don't necessarily want to feel, you're going to be set up so much better than if you were trying to like constantly avoid or hide from the rejection that is going to happen inevitably.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And the final reframe for your memory on that first night, you didn't blow it. You ran a great first rep after 9 years. Mm-hmm. You initiated, you connected, you led with a plan, and you exited with dignity. That's the skill set that you want to repeat. And the more you repeat it, the less your brain will try to bargain with all the uncertainty, because you'll trust yourself to handle whatever comes next. So if you do nothing else, remember that you are the chooser. You are not waiting to be chosen. And when you hold that position, you'll let the right woman choose to be part of your life. And I think you're in a great place. I think that you took the right first step. Look at it as a rep that you want to continue to repeat. Hey there. If you're loving the Just Ask Her podcast, please take a quick second to rate us on Spotify or Apple Podcasts. It helps more awesome listeners like you find the show. And don't forget to spread the love by sharing this episode with all of your friends. All right, back to Just Ask Her. Okay, submission 3 is from Matthew. He's 28 and in his last year of law school. He's seeking advice on how to move forward with dating and healing. A little over a month ago, my girlfriend of a year called and broke up with me. She'd been away for 3 months this summer for work and is returning at the end of the season. She ended things right before her friends went to visit her, then blocked me and refused to talk. She said she'll email in September to arrange getting her things back. And then recently, I bumped into someone who piqued my interest. I asked her out, but I'm away until the end of the month. I told her I'd message her when I get back, and she liked the message. Now the time is coming to plan something and reach out, and I need help with where to go and what steps to take. So it sounds like he is seeking advice on how to heal from his breakup and how to move forward with this potential date.
Okay.
What do you advise dating with Gracie?
Well, a year is not a short time to be with somebody. And so no matter what the situation was or how it ended, that takes time to heal from, and it stinks that happened. But I do think you didn't give us the full story on what exactly happened. It sounds like maybe there were some pieces in the story that kind of led to this. But it sounds like you are already doing the things to get back out there and to start setting up dates again. And so it sounds like you're at least at a place where you're open to going on dates. And I would encourage that. The mistake that gets made with situations like this is waiting too long or waiting until you feel ready, quote unquote, to actually get back out there and start dating again. And the truth is, especially if you were in a long-term relationship, you're probably not going to feel like 100% ready out of the gate. And so putting yourself back out there, even when it's not the most comfortable thing to do, I think is a really good step in the right direction. When it comes to this date that you're trying to get set up, don't overthink it. Make it an experience, make it something fun. You said you bumped into this person, so it's not like she's coming from a dating profile, so you probably don't have tons of background on her. But I guess try to pull from anything that you know about her, like depending on where you met. Maybe you met at a park or something like that. You know, she likes to be outdoors. Maybe try to plan something that's outdoors, paddleboarding or hang out at the beach, right? Try to use context from the way you guys met to plan the first date or a previous conversation that the two of you have had to plan that first date, and just say, hey, I've got a plan for us. When are you free this next week? If you said the time has come, so you're back, and you told her that you would reach out once you're back. So I would just reach back out. I don't overthink this. Say, hey, I'm back in town. I've got a plan for us. When are you free next week? And then let her come to you. And if she doesn't, then it's okay. It happens when there's a big gap between when you guys like met versus when you can actually get out on a date. Sometimes that happens, but you don't need to dwell on what you could have done differently here or like how things could have changed. You're back. Take the opportunity. Don't wait. Send out that message. Get the date planned. Send it in the first message that you send. Like literally just tell her you're ready to go on the date. Let's get it set up and then go from there.
Yeah. And if you close the loop with your ex on your terms, that's going to bode well for you to move forward with this upcoming date or the potential date. The best practice is to make some decisions ahead of time. So you can make a decision ahead of time about how you're going to think about your ex before that email comes. You can make decisions ahead of time about how you're going to think and feel about this upcoming potential date. Without making those decisions ahead of time, you risk, especially like with your ex, monitoring her online activity, which is going to just keep you spinning. So you need to make a decision about moving on and your worth. Look at the thoughts that you're having and what you're making this breakup mean about you, and make some decisions that are in support of you. That's what I mean by closing the loop.
And what kind of decisions do you think you should be making?
If you do happen to see mutual acquaintances or you do see social media activity, expecting that discomfort to be there and telling yourself, of course, I'm going to feel this way. We spent a year together. That's a decision that you're making ahead of time. So it doesn't really take you off guard. Recognizing that discomfort is just a feeling that you have the capacity, you're capable of handling. Her blocking you says way more about her current capacity than your worth. So being loved or not is about the other person's ability and decision to love. It's not a verdict on your value. You can make that decision ahead of time, how you're going to think and feel about all of the facts, and really stay mindful of your primitive fear-based thoughts. That too is a decision that you're really going to stay mindful of when your primitive brain kind of starts running the show. And then I think the decision to be made ahead of time is how you want to think about this invitation and really release the outcome, whether she accepts the invitation or she rejects the invitation. Choosing some clean logistics with your ex and choosing a clear, simple invitation with this new woman is going to help you choose the thoughts that create kind of a calm, confident approach. The healing that you want isn't something that you're going to wait for. It's going to be something that you practice. And that's a commitment or a promise that you keep with yourself.
The thing with the ex is just odd, but I think that if you really want to move on, if healing means moving on for you, which I strongly encourage you do, but if that's what it means for you, then I would say, yeah, don't wait until the September whatever date to go ahead and give the stuff back. That might be what works for her, and fine if she can't come to you to get it. But I think there's plenty of other options so that you don't have to think about her stuff anymore or see her stuff anymore. Give it to a friend, ship it to her, like whatever it is that you got to do so that you're not stuck here thinking about her or dwelling on whatever the situation is going to be when she comes back, or worrying about how you're going to hand off the stuff. Out of sight, out of mind. Just get it out of your place, and that probably will help with the healing process or like the moving on process of not having to think about, oh gosh, like how are we going to do this, or am I going to get to see her? It's like she's made it pretty clear that she doesn't want anything to do with this relationship, and that's on her. And the best thing you can do for yourself is to move forward without worrying about like what she's going to do when she gets back, and just decide right now, I know exactly what I want to do with this. I know exactly how I want to move forward. And if it means me figuring out a better way to get her stuff to her so that I don't have to keep holding on to it and I can move on with my life, then I think that's what you should do.
Yeah. All right. That concludes episode 40.
Yep. That's all we've got for you for this week's podcast. Be sure to follow me on Instagram and TikTok at Dating with Gracie. We look forward to seeing you right back here next week. We drop new episodes every single Wednesday. And in the meantime, no matter where you are or what situation you're in, just ask her.